When it's time to replace your appliances, Lowe's has you covered. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. And members get more like free delivery, haul away, basic installation and parts, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select major appliances. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 2/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Florida. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or at DSW.com. Let us surprise you.
¿Quieres mejor internet? Cox Internet de 300 megas tiene las velocidades rápidas y confiables que buscas. Perfecto para streaming y gaming y trabajar desde casa. Yeah. Todo por solo $45 al mes cuando agregas Cox Mobile. Incluye equipo de Wi-Fi y garantía de precio de 2 años en tu plan. Yeah. No esperes. Cámbiate hoy a Cox. Requiere Cox Mobile Gig Unlimited. Garantía de precio no incluye impuestos y cargos. Velocidad de datos móviles se reduce después de 20 gigas al mes.
That's the sound of Warhawk Athletics moving fast. And Warhawk Report moving faster to keep you ahead of what's next. From recruiting news and transfer portal updates to game recaps, analysis, and behind-the-scenes coverage, Warhawk Report is your go-to source for everything ULM. If it happens with the Warhawks, you'll read it here first. Recruiting, game coverage, and subscribers get exclusive access to the Warhawk Insider, where you can connect with fellow fans and get inside details you won't find anywhere else. Join the community, follow the coverage. Warhawk Report, covering ULM the way fans deserve.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a ULM fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeau and Chase Regent.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Tibbs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
Love
Fish.
it.
Chase, you're finally back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming your tryout for Cayenne did not go as expected.
God, I hate when you bring that up. I hate it so much. No, it was now it's, now it's back to real world. All the holidays are done. Unfortunately, it's February. So
this time of year does suck. I mean, other than we're getting ready to start baseball. I know your favorite season.
yeah. Really, real stoked for baseball season. I can't wait to listen to Mike Hammett talk for 3 hours because I'll listen, but it's just not he's great. So go listen.
Wait, what's the difference of listening to Mike Hammett talk for 3 hours about baseball versus when y'all are driving in the car? Because I'm assuming he's practicing the whole way when y'all are driving to like Alabama or Texas or wherever.
He does like, those car rides, those games are like 6 hours long a lot of time. And he just does impressions the whole time. And they're all of Barry McKnight from Troy. And he just hammers out Barry for 6 hours at a time. It's a wild thing to do to somebody. But between him and Corey Crow, the rides are interesting for sure.
I got to get you a webcam. We're going to make content out of those drives.
Yeah, get a GoPro in there for sure. I'm with you.
Especially for this year when y'all go to Stark Vegas. Open it up.
Oh, gosh.
We got a new face on the Bayou to welcome you back from your motherland of Lafayette there, Chase. New offensive coordinator and receiver coach, Jesse Montalto. I think I actually said it right.
Yeah, you're spot on there.
Come on.
Look at that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on too.
Yeah, coming to the Bayou from Iowa Central. Coach, I feel like, and I say this a lot of D1 schools, for all intents and purposes, we're all JUCOs now when it comes to the portal, the recruiting cycle, and everything else. Is that kind of the way you see it being in the biz? And that this is, I hesitate to say a lateral move, but I mean, kind of the lateral mindset, I guess, from Iowa Central to ULM.
Yeah, 100% right now. With the way the game's changed with the portal, and the constant transferring and the changing of rosters every 12 to 18 months now, which with it just being one portal window. When it was two portal windows, it was even, every 6 months at that time. But it's very similar to the junior college game. We always talked about it when we were in the junior college level, where your rosters would change every 6 months. So you had a fall roster, you had a spring roster, you had a summer roster, and then you had another fall roster the following year. So this is very similar. So the same thing when, now you're talking about coming in and installing an offense. It's very similar to what we were doing, where you've got to make it simple enough to be able to cater to your kids, where they're constantly coming in and learning a new offense, and you have to teach 20 to 40 new guys every single year, what that offense is, rather than just building off of what you did the year before, in the old traditional 4-year way. So like I say, a lot of similarities. Recruiting's very similar. You're even recruiting at this level, to give kids an opportunity to, and if they're that good, they're going to have an opportunity to, if they have a year left, to go on to a P4 school and chase NIL money and everything else. But there are a lot of very, very, very similar things with the way junior college is right now, and from the offensive side and schematic side of things, and the turnover and roster to building a roster the same way that we did at the junior college level. So a lot of familiarity walking into this situation with what I dealt with the last 8 to 12 years.
Coach, has been a big, probably critique from fans to get an OC, and so I'll speak for all of us when I say that we got an OC, we're stoked. We saw we get a guy in JUCO, which I personally believe that model, right, that we're in now, like you're saying, is kind of to adapt to that. You need people that have been doing that, like yourself. And then, my guy, I looked up your stats in college. Oh, Hall of Famer, by the way. Yeah. Don't forget, Coach. And I'm going to give you your flowers here for a second, because if I believe you were second all time at is Upper Iowa, right? Second all time receiving yards, third all time receiving touchdowns. My guy knows ball.
Yeah, as a player, I wasn't the most talented kid. Like I say, I wish I had some of the speed and athletic ability that some of these guys, have now. And, I had to do it by having really good technique and being smarter than everybody out there. That was kind of the way that I had to have my success. I played for some really, really good coaches. I played for Courtney Messingham, was my head coach, who, has been all over the Division I circuit as a coordinator at Kansas State and everywhere else. And then I had probably one of the best receiver coaches, the smartest people I've ever been around, in Kent Luck, who played receiver at Oklahoma State and coached a long time. But had those guys, and then I was able to go on and coach there after I got done playing. And we opened some things up when I became a coordinator there, and I think all the guys that I coached broke my record. So that was a pretty cool feeling there, when I was able to coach a lot of guys that were able to shatter the records that I've had. And obviously those have continued to fall as teams have opened it up, and Upper Iowa's had more success in the past.
All right, you say open it up, which makes me – the question I really want to ask you tonight is, what can we expect? What offense do you want to run? How many plays do you want to run a game? I want to know your offense philosophy top to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely.
In like 5 minutes,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it starts with us, and everybody always goes, hey, what's your identity offensively? And that's always a good question, right? Because it can be circled in so many different manners. But, first and foremost, we want to be no huddle up tempo with everything that we do. I think that's something that we want to do, is increase the tempo that we play with, turn more plays, give us more opportunities to score, keep people on their heels, and really, the way that I define what we do offensively and having a mission statement for who we are is, first is simplicity, right? Because we talked about the challenges of turning over rosters and new players coming in. And so we have to have fundamental rules within our system. And as long as we have those fundamental rules and our kids can learn it and have multiple concepts that we can play positionless football, that's the goal, right? So it has to start with being simple and then multiple, right? We want to be able to be in multiple formations, motions, and still be able to run those base plays with multiple looks. And then we want to hold defense accountable. We want to make them play 53 and a third, all 100, length. And that's something I think that you're going to see a little bit more of than what you've seen here in the past, is less loaded boxes, more opportunities to create light boxes and take what the defense gives us. So if they want to load the box, we want to throw it out there. If they want to play heavy, light boxes, we'll wind up running down their throat and control the run game. There's nothing wrong with calling a run play in our system 8 to 10 times in a row, but that means we could throw it 6 or 7 depending on what the defense gives us. So, and then we're going to do some things, in the pass game to get, maybe less 3-man concepts and more 4 and 5-man concepts and 5 and 6-man protection stuff where we can stretch the field and create some mismatches, get some guys in space. We before I got here, and I'm excited about the guys that they were able to recruit. We've got some talented kids in the receiver room that are athletic. There's some returning experience in the quarterback room with Aiden and Graves and Kimbrough and bringing in Austin Carlisle. So there's some talented kids in that room, and then the running back room is physical. So we want to be able to utilize our playmakers, let our quarterback play point guard, distribute the ball how he needs to, and really just kind of take advantage of what the defense is going to give us is probably the most simple way to put it. But you'll see a variation of everything from boot stuff to run game, inside zone, outside zone, counter schemes, to some multiple gap schemes, to all your air rated type offense in the passing game, to your spacing concepts, to your intermediate and quick game. So you'll get it all from us, including screen game.
A mouthful there, Coach.
Yeah.
But I feel like whenever you take over a new job, you kind of look back at last year to see, all right, what am I working with? What did we do that worked, didn't work, whatever. When you kind of pop in that film, what are you seeing from the 2025 season that you like, you don't like, and you're like, it's okay?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the guys up front. The guys that we have returning up front at O-line, what Coach Cam Blankenship does with those guys. We actually got into some cut-ups of where we were at previously, and then, what we've done here before we got here. And the O-line play is something that we're extremely excited about how those guys can get movement up front in the run game. And open up some holes, and then we're just going to try to lighten the box now so they don't have to block 8 and 9 guys like they might have in the past with heavy set personnel and not being able to stretch the field vertically with some receiver play. So I think that's going to be the biggest change in difference. But like I said, I really like what we've done here in the past up front, and being able to get a hat on a hat and create some movement. Aiden obviously had a really good couple last games of the year at quarterback where he was able to again, utilize the RPO system and give his playmakers an opportunity. And Nick Trujillo had a great last game against Lafayette. So some of those things, same things that they started to do at the end of the year are going to be a part of our foundation and who we are here. So that way it's not completely new, So there are some things that are going to carry over, but we feel really good, with the base install that we're going to have offensively compared to what they were doing last year, and then just adding some additions to like you say, open it up a little bit and stretch the field a little bit more than they have in the past.
Kid in a candy store, man. Just hearing all this, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited as a fan, but as the offensive line fat guy at heart, Coach, it sounds like a lot of wind sprints, to be honest. It sounds like it's.
We're gonna, everything that we're gonna do in the offseason, right? And it started with Coach Vincent and having a Warhawk mentality with everything that they're doing right now, from being disciplined and relentless. Those things that he continues to preach is the way that we're training right now. Our guys are training to play fast. We want to be a tempo offense. So really it should be easy for those guys at the end of the day because it's the way we lift weights, it's the way we do speed and agility, all those things that Coach continues to push from the toughness and grit that our guys are going to have, that he believes in is going to be the reason that this transition is really easy, because of the way our kids train. So they'll be ready to play up tempo and fast, and that's going to just be part of what we expect, and that's part of the standard and what the expectation is here.
I know BV is well connected in the JUCO ranks, so I'm sure that's where y'all kind of cross paths. But how did you wind up on the Bayou? What was that kind of process like, and what was the real tie to BV and company to get you down to ULM?
So Coach and I have known each other for a long time, close to 13, 14 years, somewhere in that time frame. he recruited guys for me in the past. I was able to send him some pretty good players. But then, like it comes down to trust and relationships with everything. So we built that relationship. He was one of the few coaches that I knew I could always trust, a guy that maybe a harder transition, to the Division I level, and he would take care of that kid and make sure that that kid had success. And I never had issues where, maybe some other places they would give up on kids quick. Like Coach Beebe never gave up on any kids that I ever sent to him, committed fully to him, lived up to his word on everything. So that was huge for me in building our relationship. And then I was able to go talk ball with them, every spring ball, we'd get in there and go see him, whether he was at UAB or South or wherever it was. We were always able to get down there and transition, talk ball. So our relationship continued to build, right? And then after we finished up the season here, up in Iowa at Iowa Central, Coach kind of reached out to me, told me that he was looking to possibly bring in a coordinator at the time. I came down here, checked out a practice or two near the back end of the year to kind of see what I thought of everything. And then the decision became a little bit tough for me because I was going to have to make some sacrifices from a family standpoint. When Coach talks about the type of coaches he brings into his program have to have trust first, right? And not only did he trust me, which I'm blessed with this opportunity that he was able to give me, but I had to be able to trust him because my family, my kids are staying back in Iowa for this transition period while my daughter finishes up high school. So I had to make sure it was a good situation with somebody that I trusted. And I've had opportunities the last 7-8 years to take Division I jobs. And there's just very, very few people that I would trust with my quality of life, and then also from a ball and schematic standpoint, that we could have success and that had the same core values that I believed in, that he believed in. So for me, that was a huge part of the transition and why I decided to make this home for me, and then I get down here 3 weeks ago, go through the first week, absolutely love it. Got some good things going on. We get hammered with the ice storm. We get blamed for the ice storm for 3 weeks long. So we don't have our kids. Our kids aren't in the building for really 7 days of work that we could have been getting in. But in that time, I was able to get out and meet some people in the community, and I found out real fast the type of people that are in this community and what the community wants and the success that the community is looking for and the support that we have here. And people are just starving for success, which, you get around that in those 7 days, and, any questions or thoughts you had about why you're here, that answers those right away. I'm super excited about it. And that just kind of reinvigorates all your energy to go, man, we want to do something special that's never been done here and go win a bowl game, go win a conference championship, do those things that haven't been done in a long time. And we have the ability to do that. So like I say, for me to kind of go through those things over that week and a half, were reassuring for me to know I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people. And then obviously, the good food down here. I told my wife when I called her, after that week that I said, next time she sees me, I'm probably going to be about 50 pounds heavier.
Yeah, we will definitely get back to food. So I want to pin that, but I promise you I want to come back to it.
For sure.
But you're here for 3 weeks. You only got power for 2 of those 3 weeks. And, you talk about trust. And I think I think fans, administration, and community, everybody's really around BV. We trust that he's the guy. We trust that he's the guy to put some more wins on the board. We trust all that. And this might be an unfair question to ask you this early on, but how do you see, I'm sure you've done enough research to understand what BV inherited, right? Like the project he inherited, sure. How do you see yourself short-term adding to help reach phase 2, reach phase 3, as he says, and kind of progress this turnaround that he's had to do so quickly of this program?
And for me, I was a head coach for the last 12 years. So obviously I know what he goes through on some level, right? And being here those 3 weeks to hear the challenges that he had to overcome in his first 2 years here, and how much was on his plate is a lot, right? And I understand some of those challenges from having to wear multiple hats as a junior college head coach, right? Because you're handling scholarships, you're handling housing, you're handling financial aid, you're handling admissions, you're handling class schedules and room scheduling and everything else that you could possibly think of. and coaches doing the same thing, whether it's generating money through NIL or whatever it is. It's a constant job outside of coaching football that he's always, trying to make the better program better. And there's nobody better at that, and he's 100% bought into ULM and the community and the kids. The kids are what's important to him. My job is just to take some pressure off of him and allow him to go do all those other things and be great at being a head coach and in the administration part of it and the fundraising part and the NIL and everything else that goes along with that, while he doesn't have to have all his focus on the offensive side, also being a head coach and also, going out there and generating funds for NIL. So my job is to come in and make his job easier, right? Like to make sure that the offensive unit is handling their business in the classroom, on the field, in the weight room, that the coaches are taking care of the recruiting from an offensive side of the point. So that way when we come to him, we have all our ducks in a row, and all he's got to worry about is going, okay, offense is good. Those guys are taken care of. I can worry about being a head coach and running the program and building the success that we're going to have here.
I know it's early on, and to say you had the guys for a week is probably an understatement because there's class of getting settled in for the semester, the ice storm, and everything else. What have you seen, though, kind of out of this offensive side, in particular the quarterbacks, knowing that, like you said, Aiden really knocked it out those last few games, but you bring in somebody that's just freakishly fast like Austin Carlisle. You went head-to-head with Christian Johnson there at Hutchinson. What are you seeing out of those quarterbacks replacing those running backs and just everything else on the offensive side?
Yeah, obviously a lot of new faces in the running back room, as you talked about, so there's, a handful of new guys. You've got Julian Walker, who's a D3 kid who came in here and is a tough physical kid, is going to grind every day, going to be the first one in the building every single day. Don Chaney, who played at Miami and Louisville, who brings some experience. Derek Jameson, who's a kid who played for me actually at Iowa Central and was a pretty special back. His first 2 touches at Utah State when he's there went for 70 yards and 20-something yard touchdowns. But he's a kid that can get up in that 21-mile-an-hour range at 6'1.5", 220. We just signed a running back, Bryson, from Arkansas Tech, who's a shorter, shiftier back that's got home run ability, who's went for 1,100 yards, a true freshman there, but then also has been 1,000-yard back 3 times in high school. So and then you've got Trey Kitchen, who's also new, was at Georgia Military, tough physical back. So we've got a really, really good room right there in the running back room that we think got some physical guys that are going to, wear on some defenses throughout. And then the receiver room, really impressed with the returners right now with JP Coulter and Nick Trujillo and Brandon Buckholder. I think those guys haven't really tapped into their full potential yet. Obviously, Nick was banged up early in the year, but coming back and being healthy, the back end of the year, you kind of saw what he can do. But then his leadership and his work ethic, he's exactly what you want in that room. And there's a different vibe in that room right now too, right? Like with the opportunity to open it up offensively a little bit, gives those guys just a little bit of new reinvigorated excitement where, they understand now that they have to practice faster. They have to have better tempo. They have to have better energy every time they walk in the building. So those guys have been really good. JP's been awesome through the workouts so far. And then we got some young guys that are explosive. LT Robinson, who was at Hutchinson, who is dynamic as all can be. Marcellus Jackson was at Itawamba most recently. Is a home run threat every time he touches it. Jamar J. Bell, who's a Colin kid who's not very big, but he can fly. DeMarco Blanton, who's a kid that was recruited here the first time around, wound up going to Arkansas State out of Southwest Mississippi, who's got some juice and can flat out run. We had a big year at Arkansas State when he was there. And then Parker Fulton was a local Shreveport kid who went to Clemson out of high school and transferred back in here at the semester. He's 6'1", 6'2", 205, big, thick kid that can run. So we're excited about him, and we've got a really good room that kids are going to work their butt off, and like I say, that skill group's going to be really good to complement our O-line.
I'm sure those receivers took a big let a big sigh of relief out when you when you introduced yourself and told them what kind of offense you're going to run. I know it's, you come as a head coach, you don't seem like a guy that ego is going to get in the way for that. But I do want to say that you're joining as the other receivers coach, my former teammate, Coach Cody Wells, a great, great guy. Can you talk about a little bit of even in that interview process when you're meeting these coaches, and then as you get here, how have they been, and how's that gelled so far?
Yeah, and like I said, I came down here and kind of observed the staff late in the year, and I knew like this is a special staff. You got some really, really good football coaches with brilliant football minds. Between Taylor Dupuy, quarterback coach, and Braden Burkhardt with his assistant there, and those are two really sharp guys that are as good as anybody I've been around. Cam Blankenship and AG and Reed Davis and those guys in the O-line room are really, really good. At running back, I brought my running back coach with me, Sean Simmons, so the familiarity with the offense there. And then Coach Skull, who obviously played for BV, as the assistant running back coach and knows his stuff and has been in the system and had a lot of success as a player. And then, obviously I get, and then Coach Brady Benson at tight ends and Coach Blomberg, who came with me from Iowa Central, like to say it's a really, really good staff. And then I got an opportunity to have Coach Wells in my room with me, who, he's the one keeping it all together for me right now with some unfamiliarity for me with just kind of understanding the day-to-day operation stuff, like who to go to from an academic advising standpoint and everything else. And, he obviously played with OJ, who does all the academic advising here. And, but he bleeds ULM and he's all about it and really, really sharp mind, who me and him see eye to eye on a lot of different things from a football standpoint. And he, like I say, he's an exceptional football coach. He's been a coordinator at different levels. So to be able to bounce different ideas off of all those guys in the room, like I say, when I first came in, the first thing I said, this is not my offense. It's our offense, right? Like we've been very quarterback friendly within our offense, where our quarterbacks control the majority of everything that we do. I don't want to put those guys in a pigeonhole and go, hey, you can only do this, or we want to allow those guys to open it up and really control it, right? Because those guys are gonna be the smartest guys on the field at all times, and we're all coming together, bouncing ideas off each other between our coaching staff, and I want our players involved in everything that we're doing offensively, especially our quarterbacks. Because if we're gonna have success, those guys have to be living and thinking the same way that we are as coaches. But this is our offense; it's not my offense at the end of the day.
Well, Coach, I know you didn't ask, but I do want to say, okay, as the offensive mastermind that I am, Cody Wells ran a 2-quarterback system here. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just, you don't have to say anything on the podcast. I want you, I don't want you to reveal anything. I'm just saying he knows the ins and outs of a 2-quarterback air raid system. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. Now we haven't done a ton with 2 on the field at the same time. Now, if you kind of go back and look at the stats in our 22 season and this past season, we play about 4 quarterbacks in a game. So we keep it fun and interesting for defenses to prepare for. And, I think in 22 we threw 42 touchdowns in 10 games with 4 different quarterbacks playing in every game.
Coach, I mean, you have the look of a football coach, but I also know you have the look of a baseball player, and that was where your true heart really lies. Why football? And have you hit up head coach Ford Pemberton to say, Coach, I can rake. I got some eligibility left. Let me in.
Yeah, so for sure, right? So I played baseball and football in college my first year, had some elbow issues, wasn't able to continue playing baseball. But I grew up a baseball kid through and through. Wound up being the best thing that ever happened to me is when I wound up getting hurt in baseball and wound up being able to just focus on football and have success that way. Never thought I was going to be a pretty good football player until that happened. And then, when I was still in Iowa, I was playing in a 40 and over league in baseball in the summer. So I'd play that on, some Wednesday nights in the summer. And, if stats don't lie, I did lead the league in home runs every year that I played in it. So yeah, I let coach know that I can still rake, and if he ever needs one out there, But I've had some really good conversations with Coach Pemberton too. Had a chance to go watch their inter squad scrimmage a little bit the other day. Love what he does with his group and the way he coaches those guys, and I can't wait to go watch those. Like I said, I can go sit out there and watch those guys anytime that we have free time here this spring.
See, Chase, baseball, it's where it's at.
I'm
And
so sorry, Coach. Tibbs, you led me into that early on, and this coach already hating me, and now I've got to interview him, multiple times.
exactly. But also with these crazy eligibility rules, this very well could happen, Chase.
No, dude, his eligibility is no offense, Coach. His eligibility is way out. 40 and over league is cool.
No doubt, no doubt. I'll let those guys do it. I watched those guys hit the other day. I don't think I'm raking like those guys.
I know the time on the Bayou's been limited, but Chase's favorite question that I'm stealing from him: what's the eats? Where are you going around town? What are you getting to eat there?
Man, I spent like 5 straight days at J Papa's getting the Cajun dry rub wings.
Come on.
And yeah, I mean, there hasn't been anything that I've had there that hasn't been elite. It's been really good. So J Papa's has kind of been the go-to early on.
You been to Daily Press yet, Coach?
Have not.
Do you know what it is?
Do not. I'm writing it down though as you're telling
Gas
me.
station, okay. And let me give you, it's a good sandwich spot for lunchtime. Okay, you got to get the Cajun turkey, spicy mayo. I don't know if you're a spicy guy. You did spend a lot of time in Iowa. I don't really think they're known for their spices, but Cajun turkey, mayo sandwich on the jalapeno bread. And of course, I always will give the recommendation. Got to go to Magic Grill. Rest in peace. The owner passed away a few months ago. Rest in peace. But the restaurant is great. And I just want to say, dude, excited for you to get to eat your way through the town. Excited to see an up-tempo offense there on the Bayou, dude. I mean, it sounds like we're gonna be watching a much different brand here of football than we have for the last 3 years. And not saying it's been bad. We've had some really kick-ass running backs that have done some really great things and offensive linemen. But definitely agree that you're the right guy in the right spot, and grateful you chose to come to the Bayou, my friend.
Well, I'm excited to be here, man. You can't find better people to be around. And that's from coaching staff wise to the people in the community. And like I said, I'm blessed to be here and have this opportunity to hopefully do some things that haven't been done here in a long time.
I'm ready for it. I've already started counting down the days. I'm trying to figure out the travel plans to get to New Orleans for Sunbelt Conference Media Days, ready to go to Stark Vegas. Then
out here balling on the Bayou. We're going to be balling on the Bayou out here.
Yeah.
You get a shirt. Come on, Coach.
What? How many? I don't think they make them in enough X's there, Chase.
Whoa! Wow, Tibbs. Jesus.
Hey, 15 pounds already a month into the year.
Hey, congratulations. I've gained 5, but I'm proud of you.
You're welcome. Coach, can't thank you enough for taking some time away from the field, the film, and chopping it up with us. Definitely looking forward to spring ball and ready for 26, man. I'm so ready for this season that we hit at least the 6-7 win mark. We go to New Orleans, we party hardy, and we get a really cool trophy.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Chase, it was so much fun. We'll do it again soon.
See you soon.